because we are in the playoffs for both the NHL and NBA, we came across a betting theory that we're going to dissect, talk a little bit about, and then I think put it to the test over the next couple of weeks. So we want to explain that theory. It is a relatively well-known betting theory. It's called the Zig Zag Theory. It works predominantly with, and Gov, I'm going to let you give sort of the explanation, but it does work predominantly with the NHL and NBA playoffs based on the 7-game series structures of the 2-2-1-1-1, based on how those series break out. And I guess the simplistic definition, before you go into full detail on it, is basically you're betting and you're wagering on a combination of home court, home ice advantage plus momentum, really, like who's due, so to speak. Right? Like that's really what it comes down to. But I know, like,
it was due. I like it for that theory.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into it a little bit more. There's a couple things to consider and look at. I don't know, Gov, if you want to just sort of give the rundown on the zigzag.
First of all, let's have a little fun with it. Is immediately again, somebody has always claimed as the guys that invented this, a man named Tony Sinalis, I believe. I'm probably butchering that last name. There's a book on him. Apparently, it's called A True Las Vegas Legend Tells It All: The Tony Sinalis Story.
Tony Solanas story. Let's look that up on Amazon. Maybe order that book club.
We should order it. Yeah.
Book review.
I feel like it wasn't. Didn't we have another Tony?
Yeah, the MLB, which we have to circle back and follow that theory. And put that theory to the test. We do have.
What was his name again?
Tony Stoffo, Tony Staffo.
What's up, man? What's up with like Tonys in the gambling world?
Yeah, mate, man, I don't know.
They're locked in.
Yeah, the Tonys. But one of them was bound to be Anthony, and just went with Tony for sure. So.
Hey, it's funny enough. Our first guest that ever was mentioned on the podcast was an Anthony.
Or first comment was Anthony.
Yeah. Let's
Anthony,
get some more fan participation out there. By the way, like ask us some questions out there, followers.
Yeah,
let's go.
Give us some more content, please. We need a little more to record on. So if you've got anything that you'd like us to. But hey, we can continue to look at these theories, and hopefully maybe as we uncover with the zigzag theory, it's a lucrative one and we uncover something here. So let's dive a little bit deeper into it. Yeah.
So here's how it works. Again, it's pretty much betting on when someone's due. So scenario, home team wins game 1 at home. The bet is to bet the road team to win that second game on the road. So theory is that the odds after the home team wins the first game, the odds for them to win the second game is going to be highly in their favor. The public is going to bet on that, seeing the trend. However, 1/3 of the time, the visiting team does cover. So you're getting great odds there to cover. Vice versa. Visiting team wins game 1 of the series on the road. The home team has a 75% chance, basically, based on the stats, of winning game 2. So you could bet that one with confidence on the money line and maybe even against the spread. Okay. So that's the first 2 parts of the theory.
2 scenarios.
Part 3 of this scenario. Home team wins games 1 and game 2. Backs against the wall, visiting team goes back home to play that game. No one wants to go down 3-0. That is the bet. I can't remember the stats right off the top of my head, but it was
with that visiting team, the visiting team, which is basically the underdog team. So coming home to play game 3, I think that stat wasn't it like 75 or 76% of the time they're going to win. Again, you're basing on the fact that they're due to go down 3-0.
Yeah.
No
team in the NBA has ever come back down from 3-0. I think it's happened a few times in the NHL, but that's the one they need to win. So they really put it all on the line, and you usually get a win there. And then the fourth option to that, in particular for NHL betting, and only NHL betting really, is when the team does go down 3-0, bet against the sweep happening. 57% of the time, the team does not sweep.
Yeah.
So again, these are those key stats that we kind of look for. Anytime we see the numbers that are over 55%, the whole proportional betting theory, betting 10% of your wager. If you always found a bet like that all the time, you'll win in the long run.
Yeah. So really at the end of the day, this is like a game 2-3 bet is what you're looking at.
2 and 3. Yeah.
So again, as we talked about, like you're really looking at that home court, home ice advantage plus the momentum, what's coming in. So you're going to follow, you're going to see who wins that first game and then start to place your wagers from there. Now, as with everything, we talk about it all the time, there's variables to this. So things that you need to watch out for. It's not just as simple as taking any series, any matchup and betting it in this sort of strategy. You've got to consider a couple of the variables. Do your research on the matchup itself, what happened in the regular season between these two teams. You've got to look at specific players that are impact players against particular teams, particular goalies, particular defenses, things like that can ultimately sway your decision making with regards to momentum. So, I mean, in a simplistic sense, you can just follow the theory straight up. But there are some variables that you're going to want to watch for and take into consideration when you're making these picks, as we say with any betting strategy or theory. So those are just some things that you need to be cognizant of. Injuries is another one, suspensions, things like that could play a role into this. Those are all elements that you need to take into account. For example, like let's take tonight, for example. We look at Montreal and Winnipeg. Right. So Montreal underdog coming into Winnipeg playing at home. Last I checked, did they end up winning?
It's 5-3. Yeah. They won 5-3.
They won. So Winnipeg or Montreal ends up winning 5-3.
Yeah.
Right. So in that case, like obviously there's a couple variables to take into account. When I'm looking at that game up front, you're not betting that game anyways in this year. You're waiting to see sort of what plays out. Yep. But Montreal's got some crazy momentum coming out of that Toronto series. Carey Price is looking extremely, extremely hot right now. He's playing extremely well. So not surprising to see Montreal come in and win. This is now a great opportunity knowing coming into game 2, you've got Winnipeg, who is that home ice advantage. They that in this theory, you're betting that home team to win game 2. Right. Correct. Let's say obviously,
and we're betting it hard because this is the ideal scenario of that home team that was the favorite lost. Let's go. They got to get number 2.
Yeah. And kind of the theory that plays out in a lot of people when you talk about that is when you look at a team that wins that first game feels pretty good about it. Coaches, staff, players, everyone feels really good about it. They're probably not going to change much in regards to the scheme and how they approach the game and the things that they did. If you're coming out of the game and you lost, you're probably you're dissecting a little bit more. What are the things that you need to change? What are some of the things that you need to do differently to win that next game? So you're putting a little bit more emphasis on making those changes to ultimately impact the outcome and win the game. So that's why you're betting on that team, that home favorite again, to win that game too. Let's say for whatever reason, they don't win that game. Now they're coming back into Montreal down 2. In that theory, you're again betting Winnipeg to win that game 3
for sure. No one's going down 3
on the road. You're not going to go down 3. Obviously, that you're playing desperation hockey at that point in time. You got to get a win.
So and that works out. So just looking at that, the other one that we saw right away was the in this scenario today is Vegas and Colorado. So Colorado obviously wins game 1. Mm-hmm. The Knights tonight is the bet. And if they lose again, it's an even bigger bet when they're back at home in 2 days from now. Yeah,
exactly right. And then, and that's the other thing with this too, that I think we should touch on is, figuring out, if you're going to bet the money line or the puck line, or you're going to bet the spread, and not just based on what you're feeling more comfortable with. And there may be some variables in that you want to look at. Like, so let's say, for example, you're betting Vegas in game. So obviously, tonight you're betting Vegas to try to win and beat Colorado. You're either betting that on the puck line, or if you're not totally confident, you think Colorado's playing really hot, but you think Vegas can keep it a tight game because they're going to come in. They've made some changes. They've got to try to win this game, not go down 2. You might just bet the spread for them to keep it tight.
Not so that's all odds, but it's there.
Exactly. You're not maybe getting as much odds or as big a payout, but at the end
Yeah.
of the day, that's a little bit more of a conservative bet. And the other
If
thing is just to identify how much you're going to wager here. There's no set rule on that. I think
yeah,
everybody just needs to be cognizant of bankroll management, how much you're going to put against it. So you decide, are you betting, a $10 bet against all these games? You're betting 25, you're betting 50, whatever that is, whatever you're most comfortable with. You got to just be cognizant of your bankroll management when you're making
for
those
sure.
bets. There's no hard set. You need to bet these amounts of this amount of money in each of these games.
So what do you think about maybe the NBA is starting in round 2?
Yeah.
We'll have 4 series there. Let's play it out.
Yeah, I think let's play it out. Let's even look at some of the hockey too and follow it along and
Yep.
see what happens over the course of the next couple of weeks. Let's play it out. Let's see how it goes, and then maybe for the next podcast we do, let's break it down. We'll identify these are the decisions we made, these were the picks we made, and identify the overall outcome and successes.
Done.
And we'll do conversely too. Like if we'll look at it from the other angles, if we had gone the other way and not made these picks, sort of what that would have looked like. So we'll break it all down and hopefully at the end of it come up with a potential solution. So next year or for round 3,
we're cruising.
We get into this point where you're like, okay, you've got a little bit of theory. There's some confidence there. It's kind of like the March Madness. We've got a set thing. We know we can make some money on that potentially, and hopefully that's something that you can put into practice. So that's the Zig Zag Theory.
That's it. Zig Zag. Done.
Super fun. Like we said, we'll check out the next couple of weeks, see how things go, report back to you guys. Fun time, lots happening, lots of great series, both the NBA and the NHL. Good time of year too. It's